What's up, everyone? It's time for this week's Amphibia discussion/reaction video. Let's get started. Alright, first up we've got Toad for Redemption, which was not a Sasha episode. I was wrong. We were all wrong. It's about Mayor Toadstool. It starts out with the mayor doing some good deeds, because he said that after the incident at Toad Tower, that inspired him to become a better person. Some delegates from Newtopia arrive and they say they want to talk to him about the stuff at Toad Tower, interestingly enough. And they say that now that Grime's gone, we want you to be the new head toad at Toad Tower. Mayor Toadstool's first name is Froderick. That's a good one. The mayor's like kind of iffy about leaving because he's grown to like Wartwood and doesn't really want to leave, but Toady is like, yeah, let's go right now. Then Anne rushes in and is like, Mayor Toadstool, we need to talk about all these parking tickets Hot Pop has. You know, like, he wasn't here for some of these. Toadstool explains the situation, and Anne's basically like, if you can convince the Newtopia people that you're a coward or you're incompetent, then maybe they won't want to give you the job. There's like a quick joke where Polly's like, shouldn't we be consulting Marcy and Frobo? And Anne's like, no, they're busy doing something. And you see just an outhouse when there's an explosion, and Marcy's like, oh, that wasn't good. So yeah, Marcy's been tinkering with Frobo. We'll see where that goes. So Anne and the planners, they stage these situations, like they stage a robbery where Hop Pop's like, oh no, they're being robbed. What are we gonna do? Oh, the mayor will help us. And then the mayor's like, oh no, I can't do anything. But I think it was Mrs. Croker, like, knocks out Anne and Sprague, who are pretending to be robbers, and it's like, oh, it's a false alarm. Yeah, it didn't work. And then same thing with like these moles that you saw in the trailer, like it was the mole popping out of the ground, and Mayor Toadstool accidentally saves the town from the moles, and it's like, oh boy. Eventually Mayor Toadstool's like, alright, I guess I'll go. Come on, let's go, Toady. And then the Newt from Utopia is like, oh no, you can't bring Toady with you. And the mayor's like, hold on, I like Toady, he's coming with me. Then like a bunch of toads show up, and they're like led by the ones who are in Toad Tax, and they're like, we're here to ransack the place. You know, after Toad Tower fell, we've all become bandits. Mayor Toadstool leads the Wartwood citizens in attacking the other toads, and they all get tied up, and the delegate from Newtopia is like, Mayor Toadstool, you're too soft, you know, we need someone like Bog, where it's like the evil one, where he's like, you want me to run Toad Tower? He's like, yeah, and he's like, oh, I guess things will be a lot worse than when Grime was around, ha. And everyone's like, oh, this is so bad. So, I don't know necessarily this season, but in probably the next season that the new toads in Toad Tower will cause problems. Well, I guess the old toads, but under new leadership. Alright, next up, Maddie and Marcy. Maddie's great. She's really funny. She's doing some magic stuff. She's trying to resurrect a dead flea, and her sisters show up. They're like Polly, but blue. There's 3 small pollywogs. They're like, play with us like you used to. Because they explain later that Maddie used to play with her sisters a lot, but then she got interested in magic and stopped playing with them, and was like, you kids need to grow up. Marcy's documenting nature in the woods, and she hears a little commotion and goes to inspect it, because Maddie's sisters accidentally brought this tree to life, but Marcy brings it back, like subdues it. And Marcy's like, I want in on that, that's cool. So the two of them, they go to gather all the ingredients to resurrect this dead flea. There's this really funny part where they're like, okay, we need something from an old corpse, and like, you see like this dead fish, they're like, no. You see this like rotting dinosaur skeleton, no. And you cut to Hot Pop, who's like looking really, really disheveled. They're like, yeah, that's the corpse we need. I just hit the table again. Eventually Maddie goes home because it's late, and she's like, oh, well, we'll resurrect the flea tomorrow. And she's telling Marcy about, you know, her past with her sisters, and Marcy's like, I totally understand being hyper-focused on stuff, but you can't just shut your family out. Because Marcy has a similar issue with, like, focusing on stuff. We saw that in the first temple and in New Wartwood, and it's like, it's good to see her, like, communicating it with someone. The sisters decide to grow up for real. They steal a growth potion from Maddie's spellbook. The potion doesn't make them older, it just makes them bigger. And, like, they keep getting bigger, like, they are expanding because they did the spell wrong. And Maddie's like, oh, crap, if they keep growing, they'll eventually explode. And Maddie feels bad because she's like, they're only doing this because they just want to have fun with me, and I'm not giving them any attention. Sisters grow really big and start causing mayhem around town, and they're like, oh, we're too big. So then Maddie grows big to play with them while Marcy prepares an antidote. There's a quick joke where Sprig and Anne are watching TV, and they're like, isn't it weird when the main characters are barely in an episode? That was some good meta commentary. But yeah, Maddie grows herself to play with the sisters. Marcy prepares an antidote and shrinks them. The sisters are like, "Oh, thanks, Maddie. You're the best sister ever." And Maddie's like, "No, I'm not. I've been horrible to you. You know, but things are gonna change. I'm gonna play with you more often." Then, you know, the flea that they resurrected comes back and is like, "Oh, look, the flea's here." And then they hug it, but then its head pops off again. It's like, "Oh no, we have to resurrect it again." And then the episode ends there. Like last week's episodes, these ones were relatively minor. I mean, Toad to Redemption is like setting up for future stuff, but overall it wasn't that important. Next week we're going to get the second temple, which is when things are going to get important to the plot again. It looks like Valeriana will be in it. She's like that newt that was at the Bazaar, and in my Trio of Calamity video, I was like, "Oh, she was sent by Newtopia," but now I'm like, no, I was definitely wrong about that. When she says, "Oh, is Anne the one we've been looking for?" She's probably referring to whatever prophecy King Andreas was talking about in the first temple. And the synopsis for the second temple is like, Anne and Marcy will need help to find the second temple, and there's a couple of shots of them with her in the trailer for season 2B, so I'm like, okay, this is where Valeriana will step in. Hope you all enjoyed that, and until next time, thanks for watching.